So, good morning everyone. My name is Christine and my report for today is all about the non-reader learners in school. So, for us to start, I want you to watch this clip of a documentary video by Eyewitness entitled Pag-asa sa Pagbasa.
Mabasa mo na kayo daw. Or
Kaya kami ngayon, lagi kami nag-start sa pinaka-basic, pinaka-mababang level,
Which is reading
which is reading,
or color identification.
color identification.
Tapos J. Ano yung susunod? J. J na sa grade 1 kayo.
ayun na, tunog. Okay, very good.
Batay sa aking mga nabasang mga nangyayari ngayon sa public school system, nagpapataasan kasi ng performance ang bawat paaralan. So, iniisip siguro nila na pag maraming pinasa ay maganda ang performance ng paaralan. Kaya nagkakaroon ng mass promotion na tinatawag.
Ganda kasi nangyayari, kapag binagsak mo, pag marami kang binagsak, teacher factor. Kahit ginawa mo na lahat. Ang public school teacher, April and May, wala na kaming pasok. Bakasyon na namin yun. So kapag ako may binagsak ako, kaya ako yung magsa-summer mismo sa kanila. Magre-render kami ng 6 to 8 hours para isummer sila the whole month at yun ay libre. Kami yung tumatayong pangalawang magulang sa kapat. Kung ano yung kakulangan ng magulang, kung ano yung kakulangan ng lipunan, kung kaya namin ibigay. Kahit sa maliit na paraan, ibinibigay namin. Hindi namin sila sinusukuan. Hanggat may nakikita kaming maliit na puwang na kaya nilang matuto, sige lang.
So, that video clip is one of the evidences that non-readers or non-reader learners still exist. So, they are struggling, especially if they are in higher grades already. So, why is reading really important? So, these are the reason why reading is important. First is kids who read often and widely get better at it. And it exercises our brains and improves our concentration. Reading also teaches children about the world around them, and it improves a child's vocabulary, which leads to more highly developed language skills and improves the child's ability to write well. So for the Department of Education, our goal is to enable every Filipino child to communicate both English and Filipino through effective reading instruction. So in 2001, the agency launched the Every Child a Reader program, or the ECARP, which set grade 3 as the stage when pupils attain reading proficiency. Then they targeted also that every child should be a reader in grade 1 by the end of the Aquino administration. So this ECARP, it is a national program that addresses the thrust of DepEd to make every Filipino child a reader at his or her own level. So it is designed to equip elementary pupils with strategic reading and writing skills to make them independent young readers and writers. So for this, we will define what is a non-reader learner. So a non-reader learner or a non-reader lacks the skills of a fluent reader. So they read below grade level and struggles with comprehension, with the phonics and vocabulary. So they read very little. So they lack effective word attack skills. Then they exhibit poor comprehension skills. So they have limited language and vocabulary. So these are the causes of the huge numbers of non-readers in the Philippines. Now, first is the less parental involvement in child's learning. So, actually, parental involvement in child's learning is very important in the process of learning. No? So, there are some parents, Manggod, who are just relying on the teachers when it comes to their child's learning. So, it is ideal, therefore, for parents to follow up their child's learning right after the formal studies of their child. The next, we have the inappropriate materials or techniques used by teachers. So due to the number of students inside the classroom, where there is an unbalanced teacher-pupil ratio inside the classroom, so their diversities also affect their learning, where since there is no enough fund for learning activities, for learning facilities and materials, so the teacher will just use what is available, even if it is not really suitable for the learners. Then we have the extreme poverty. We all know there are children who are forced to work rather than to choose schooling. So some children, they prefer to feed their hungry stomach than to learn. So to this reason, the child is not developmentally ready to learn. The next, we have the ineffective public schools due to the lacking of funds for learning facilities and materials. So, and the unpreparedness for the students to learn. So, how does lack of funds affect schools? So, school funding issues is a major problem with direct links to student achievement levels. So, kung smaller ang budget sa schools, syempre, dili sila maka-offer og mga better programs. So, lower jud ilang student achievement. So, naay socio-economic in education. And as for the unpreparedness for the students to learn, I know for those teachers na difficult to teach kung ang student is unprepared to learn. But let's just imagine, or let's just think positive that the students will achieve their goals one day. So, because what we do as teachers matters in the lives of our students. So, let's help them become lifelong learners. So, there are also other common reading issues among learners. So, we have the poor vision, the hearing loss, the improper directional tracking, the poor comprehension skills. We have the issues with decoding, the ADHD, the ADD, and the dyslexia. So for this is children with vision-related problem will typically lose their place while reading and confuse similar-looking words, so they can't properly see the text. Then, syempre kung ang imong hearing loss pod, dili pod maayo, so poor ang imong hearing loss na pugkay difficulty sa other areas sa academic achievement. So for the improper directional tracking is a child tries to read numbers and words from right to left. Let's say example. Instead na from left to right. So ang tracking issues there is also occur when a student will confuse the order of letters in a word or see them as reverse. Mostly kanid yung letter B and letter D mo ni siya. Pero this may cause by poor vision, but pwede po siya symptom manggod sa ADD or the dyslexia. Next, the poor comprehension skills occur when a child has an issue with following directions, remembering a series of numbers or words, and not being able to understand what someone is saying to them. Then with the issues with decoding, he or she may be unable to break a large word into syllables or smaller words. So this can often be because they have problems with phonetics or fluency. As for the ADD or the attention deficit disorder, and the ADHD with the attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, muna siya ang mga term nga commonly used to describe symptoms sa inattention, mga distractibility, o ang poor working memory. So, muna siya ang diagnosis ani is align more closely with stereotypical nga understanding sa attention deficit. Muna siya. Then next is the dyslexia. So, muna jud ni siya ang learning disorder. Involves ni siya sa difficulty sa pag-read, tungod kay problems identifying sa speech sounds, na sila learning how they relate to letters and words. Then, gitawag po ni siya og reading disability. Kay maka-affect man ni siya sa brain that process language. So, sa kaning mga problem, ang mga schools inaapod sila mga initiatives in reading literacy, no? So, ang kaning mga initiative is naatay literacy program, naatay individual reading recovery program, naputay enhancement or enrichment program. So, under sa literacy program, naatay ginatawag og Big Six. So, muna siya mga strategies nga that are often intertwined, but some are more suited to specific reading task than others. So, first is the phonic awareness. Kaning phonemic awareness rather is ability to hear that a spoken word is made up of a series of discrete sounds. So, important kaini siya sa English kay because kung mag-teach man kag phonemic awareness, it allows to greater printed word recognition. Then, i-teach po niya ang children to identify, to understand, and manipulate sounds in spoken words. Next is for the phonics instruction. So, phonics instruction is teaching children that specific sounds belong to specific letters and letter patterns. So, sa phonic instructions, it helps children recognize and associate the sounds sa letters o letter patterns in a words nga ilang ginabasa. So, maka-decode sila. So, kanipod is maka-help siya sa children nga read more accurately and at ease. Next is the vocabulary. So, muni siya ang mga knowledge sa words o ilang mga meanings. So, the more nga daghan kang mahibal-an nga words and meanings, so, important kaayo siya sa literacy program kay it increases comprehension. So, vital po siya sa child's ability to do well in school. Next is fluency. So, diri na mag-insert si fluency kay naay ability si ang bata, si learner to effortlessly and correctly read, mag-speak o write in English. So, fluency in reading should include naatay consistent speed, natay accuracy, then ang use sa proper nga expression. So, fifth is the comprehension. So, comprehension muna siya nag-refer siya sa child's understanding on what they are reading. So, important kasi comprehension kay sa success in academic and personal learning ni learner. So, kaya siya, productive siya as a member of the society. Then, comprehension ng good is important siya nga component sa effective literacy program in obtaining and maintaining a job and being successful in life. Next is writing. So, muna siya ang process sa students in generating text. So, whether on paper or on a screen. So some studies suggest that reading and writing are interconnected, although they have been taught separately for years. Next is the individual reading recovery program. So includes ani is katong mga individual tutoring sa una, nga after sa klase there are 30 to 45 minutes nga mga sessions sa mga atong non-reader or kanang dili mga fluent nga mga readers nga estudyante. So naa sila informal diagnosis nga daily, pwede pod weekly nga monitoring sa progress sa learner. Then they are allowed or they let the learner read aloud books daily, no, supported by a variety of picture books and story books. Nang some of the classrooms na siya reading area muna siya. Next is the enrichment and enhancement program. So dinhi sa enhancement program na dinhi ang mga profiling sa learners na. So nag-establish na ang schools o mga reading center or clinic. So naa sila gitatawag og drop everything and read. Do pwede siya 10 minutes every day nga mag-read sila silang chosen material. So naay development sa supplementary reading materials. Pero how about during pandemic, no? So kailangan na to strengthen gihapon ang reading initiatives during pandemic. So to make every learner a proficient reader, schools across the country are tasked to help learners develop their reading skills by developing and implementing initiatives. So learning to read daw is one of the essential educational projects or products of primary education. So as a result, si DepEd kay gi-strengthen man niya ang ECARP or the Every Child a Reader program. Then so gi-encourage niya tanang offices, mga gikan sa central office, sa regional office, sa schools divisions o mga schools na mo respond aning 3B's initiative or ginatawag og hamon bawat bata bumabasa. So to make every learner a reader at his or her grade level. So sa mga teachers din ha, so I know it is a colossal challenge on how to respond to this program during the pandemic, no? In order to cater the needs of learners, especially those who are non-readers and who belong to the frustration level. So, as a response, na mga schools, divisions nga nag-initiate o mga reading literacy, then kaya ilang concerns kay mga learners belonging sa frustration level during pandemic. So nag-enjoin ang mga all school nga mag-implement sila og localized innovative reading program nga mag-anchor sa bawat bata bumabasa nga hamon. So for example is for the Northern Mindanao, so we have the Project Care for North Min Readers or the Project CNR. So this project daw is envisioned to lessen, if not totally take out from the scene, the frustration readers who are found in all grade levels. So the goal of the North Min or the reading program is to make every elementary and high school learner an independent reader in the mother tongue, Filipino, and English. Then we have here an example is their Park for Learning at Mati Elementary School. So, ang Mati Elementary School launches sa ila ang Park for Learning, no? A joyful education niya. So, ilang encourage a child to practice reading, writing, and innumeracy necessary to promote motivation and curiosity using play activities nga maka-interest sa student. So, please watch this video for the
Sa pag-aaral, merong pag-asa. Hello, ako si Jeffrey G. De Mailig, 34 years old. School head ako dito sa Mate Elementary School for 2 years. Actually, nung una kong dating dito, hindi ko masabing ayaw ko. Ayaw ko talaga. Sabi ko, saan ako magsisimula? Kasi ang physical appearance niya, hindi mo siya masasabing, paaralan to. Kasi ang lungkot, walang kulay, madamo, parang sementeryo. Pero sabi ko, siguro Diyos na yung nagdala sa akin at siya lang yung nakakaalam kung ano yung kakayahan ko na pwede kong mabago yung paaralang ito. At nung nagstay ako ng almost 2 years, nakita ko yung sakit ng paaralan. Kaya nag-start ako para buuin ang aming Project Care na kasama dito yung programa namin ng reading. Ito yung Park for Learning. Ang una ko kasi nakita dito na problema nila, wala silang reading program. Kaya hindi nila masolusyonan. Parang sakit ng bata. Iniintay mo lang gumaling pero wala kang ginagamot. Ganon din kasi yun sa reading. Hindi mo pwedeng intayin ang bata na gumaling sa pagbabasa dahil lang sa klase. So kailangan meron ka diyang reseta na ibinibigay sa bata para ma-improve yung kanilang reading. Na ito nga, in-establish namin at pinagtulungan namin mga guro. Kasi hindi lang ako nag-concept niya. Kasama ko ditong nagtrabaho ang mga guro. Kasi nung dumating ako dito, at kahit saan akong school pumunta, ang una kong ina-assess ay yung reading ability ng bata. Tinitingnan ko yung record kung ilan ang mga non-readers. Kasi nung dumating ako dito, halos 0.10% or 14 out of 94 pupils ang mga non-readers. Eh syempre, bilang school head, ayoko naman nag-graduate sila na hindi marunong bumasa. So, nag-concept kami ng mga guro ng isang reading program na ang bata is mag-enjoy, hindi may stress. Hindi lang ikukulong sila sa isang classroom na kailangan mo lang matuto. Dahil sa pag-aaral, sa pagbasa, na andun yung totoong pag-asa para makuha mo at kung ano yung gusto mong mangyari sa iyong buhay. At kami bilang mga guro dito, kami naman yung nagpo-provide sa mga pangangailangan nila in terms sa academics at sa school performance nila. So, isang taon namin siyang tinrabaho ng project proposal. And then, nung na-concept namin yung papers, dinepend ko yun sa aming SDS. At natuwa naman ang SDS namin kasi sa buong Calabarzon, kami lang yung may gantong project proposal regarding reading, which is ito nga yung Park for Learning. Pangalawa, ipinresent ko ito sa possible stakeholders. And then, nung na-approve nila, nakakame up kami ng worth 90,000 after 3 months. And then, nag-start ito na magawa, itong aming Park for Learning, is on last May 20, 2019. And then, in-launch namin to ng June 28, 2019. At ngayon, mag-iisang taon na siya. Ang purpose kasi nito is matuto yung bata at the same time, nag-enjoy siya. Kasi pag nagturo ka lang ng reading sa classroom, ang nangyayari, parang ang bata, pagod na, stress na. Ano ba naman yan? Maghapon na kami nag-aaral, tapos bago umalis, bababasahin pa din. Pero sila, nag-enjoy sila. Hindi na kami hirap na sila'y pabasahin. Hindi na namin sila tinatawa. Kami na ngayon ang nag-a-adjust sa schedule kasi minsan may mga urgent papers kami na kailangan isubmit. Pero may mga bata na gusto magbasa. So kailangan namin itigil yon at punahin namin yung reading program namin para sa progress ng bata makita namin. Yun ang Park for Learning. At sa Tech Plus School Ed, natutuwa naman ako kasi nabawasan yung aming mga non-readers.
Batang masuri, ako ay batang masuri. Tulog sila na ay nagsusuri.
Yun yung naging suklit. Na yung effort namin, yung puyat namin, yung pagod. Pag nakita mo yung ang bata ay may progress in terms of reading ability nila or skills. Doon pa lang kita mo, parang nawala na yung pagod mo. Willing ulit ako magpakapagod. Kasi alam ko na yung pagod ko is may mga bata akong matatouch ang buhay pagdating sa tamang edad nila at pagdating sa tamang panahon na sila ay may sarili na ring pamilya.
Ito ang istorya ng aking pag-asa.
So, that video is all about the project at Mati Elementary School. So, that project, they plan to have an extension next year. So, gusto nila magbutang og forest library, na sila eco park, mga garden of books daw. So, reading camp, reading cafeteria. So, para sa ilang continuing improvement na siya. So, next is, we have this issue in regards with the non-reader learner. So, nisikat ang Philippines, no, during sa PISA 2018. So, kaning PISA is muni siya ang program. PISA stands for Program for International Student Assessment. So, for the first time, ni join si Philippines, but unfortunately, Philippines ranked last among 79 participating countries and economies in reading. Then, second to the last in science and mathematics. So, for this, ulaw kayo sa Philippines, no? So, ang mga nagparticipate si Philippines in PISA for the first time in 2018. Ang majority of the students failed to reach minimum levels of proficiency across sa 3 PISA nga subjects. So, na wide gap by socioeconomic status. So, ang kanisya is, ang analysis ani sa Department of Education is nag-result siya and explores the factors influencing the outcomes daw. So, in order to drive policy implications to improve daw sa education system na to. So, nganong i-join ta sa PISA 2018? Confident ba kay ta ani? So, ang Philippines manggod ni join siya sa PISA 2018 because the Philippines aims to improve student performance through international benchmarking and achievement data. So, according to DepEd Secretary, nga one of the main reasons why Philippines participated is to understand how the country's students performed in relation to international benchmarks, then improve the Philippines basic education in alignment with the global education standards. So, PISA presents added value to current education reforms and interventions. So, as a result of the wealth of information it collects, so, mo nang ni join ta sa PISA and hopefully, this year, 2022, I think, we will join again. Hopefully, dili na ta, last or second to the last. Okay, ato i-justify nga effective ang Every Child a Reader nga program. Then, naatay mga reading intervention programs which muna siya mga programs na supplementary to an existing literacy curriculum nga nag-provide to students for the primary purpose of increasing reading levels. Muna siya. So, for the end of my report, there is no such thing as a child who hates to read. So there are only children who have not found the right book. So as from Frank Serafini ni siya. So as American author Ernest Hemingway said, there is no friend as loyal as a book. Thank you and good morning.